Hey guys, it's Matt. I got an email yesterday from Cameron, who found one of the greatest truth drops in movie history. I'll show that to you in just a moment, but a little bit of a backstory here that this came up at the same time. We have the 100 Monkeys thing a lot of times going on in this community where several people will be talking about similar themes, like the truth kind of flows out at the same time. Now, this is a video from Robert, I believe his last name is Sepper, about the sacred dance of the seven veils. And a lot of this video, which I'll link to, talks about the ancient roots and meanings behind the number seven, of course, related to the seven chakras. So I just froze a section of his video here. I will link to it if you want to see it. I don't think Cameron saw this video. So he's telling me about the truth drop in this movie, which I'll get to in just a moment. And then just at about the same time, you have Robert Sepher talking about the meaning of seven as it's carried throughout history related to the seven chakras. So let me get to Cameron's incredible find now. So Cameron sends me this, The Sound of Music, the So Long, Farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, blah. Yeah, the seven chakras. Of course, it's like immediately, like every bit of my inner knowing was like, yeah, that's it. Incredible catch. This is just amazing. I mean, because it's amazing the catch, but also how quickly it hit me. Like not even within a second. Like, yeah, that's it. That's exactly what this is. So let me just present the way he presented in the email first, and we'll talk about it later. Seven children, the Von Trapp family singers. For some strange reason, guys, I didn't, at least consciously ever put this together, but at least 3 times in the last year, I keep talking about the puppet show in The Sound of Music. Leo, Leo, Lehio. Why am I doing that? I don't know. It could be this 100 Monkeys thing, but anyway, so just to present what Cameron presented in his email wasn't very long, basically saying 7 chakras that have achieved a certain understanding. So long, farewell. Go back up the staircase. Oh, he also said you have these elites, like the elites of the world are looking on, very pleased with what's being presented here. And remember, there is a very smart group in our community that says that these a-holes are here, really ultimately to serve a purpose, to serve us. We cannot ascend without seeing the evil, without recognizing to purge those sorts of things out of ourselves. So not that these elites here are very pleased out to help us. I don't go there. Some people do. You certainly will go into the area where I say, through their actions, whether they're trying to help us or not, through their actions, they have helped us. There's no doubt. But where would I be? Where would you be without the 7/11 event and certain realizations as to how this world works? So it goes this presentation of the at least the big fish in the small pond of this world looking on, pleased. It was an interesting thing that he pointed out in the email as well. So they sing their little dance and song, and then they ascend up the stairway. There's only 3 left at this point. They go one by one up the stairway and to a open door, and waving goodbye to the world. Of course, as the seven planets. Of course, the 7 chakras. The Robert Sepher video talks about all the ancient meanings of the number 7 as it relates to the 7 chakras and the rising of the Kundalini energy. Again, guys, this is not my area. I don't really understand that and never tried to pursue that physical process. I'm about a mental and spiritual awakening. But this just, talk about being able to read the matrix code. I mean, this just immediately jumped out. And it was like, Cameron, yeah, this is exactly right. Go up the stairway to an open door. So long, world. Farewell. And, we're out of here. So, no doubt about it. Let's look at the lyrics. and see if we can find anything in the lyrics of this song. I haven't looked at it. I guarantee there'll be something here in the lyrics. Haven't looked at it yet. This just resonates too strongly with me. Guys, I can't play this. I'm going to go through these lyrics and somebody's probably like, well, just play it. I've just been through this too much. I can't. What others can get away with copyright, this channel can't. So the information is more important than the entertainment value. I'll try to entertain you. All right, but I can't play it. I'm sorry. There's an entry coming. I'll just go through the lyrics, and then before it gets into the part you remember. I don't remember this part either. There's a sad sort of clanging from the clock in the hall, and the bells in the steeple too. And up in the nursery, a little bird is popping out to say, cuckoo, cuckoo. You probably remember that. There's a sad sort of clanging from the clock in the hall. It's sad. Bells in the steeple. An absurd little bird popping out to say, cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Regretfully, they tell us, but firmly they compel us to get out of here. Yeah, there's 7 cuckoos. 7 cuckoos, too. But they all say cuckoo in unison. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And they're the elite and the minions of this world, as Cameron said. In this example, they look quite pleased that these people are getting out of here and they beat the Saturn Moon Matrix. So let's go on with the lyrics. So long, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, good night. I hate to go, leave this pretty sight. It's not going to, guys, in the end of the day, it has to, the people in the audience seeing this for 70 years can't be like, this was strange. This must have, it has, on the face value, it has to just be a little presentation from kids. They can't make it too much like the way we would want them to make it. So I thought it was very interesting where they say that regretfully they tell us, but firmly they compel us. The clock is, compel us to get the heck out of here. Now, in terms of the so long farewells, I leave, I heave, I sigh, and say goodbye. I mean, there's not a whole lot here. I hate to go and leave this pretty sight. It's just, what do they regret? They're showing their regrets leaving the 3D material plane of existence. They're outwardly admitting their regrets, and they outwardly admitting they haven't dropped all attachment. But maybe we don't have to go 100% dropping of attachment. We can still say, that bird was pretty. There was a lot of things that were very enjoyable about this place. I don't think it's all or none. I think it can be appreciated. I don't think that traps you. So let's move on. In this scene, it was the older one, approaches the minions and says, so long, farewell. I'd like to stay and taste my first champagne. And she says yes, like asking permission from the minions. And who knows? I mean, you want to get ridiculously conspiratorial. One breaks out of line, breaks out of the pattern of the 7 chakras all performing together. Again, I don't. Somebody's probably going, no, you can't get too conspiratorial when it comes to this stuff, because this is exactly what this presentation is. One gets out of line, breaks the presentation, walks right up, breaks the formation, breaks the pattern, and says, I'd like to taste my first champagne. And the minion, of course, the father, it has to be a real movie first and foremost to the popcorn crunchers. He says no, and off she goes to bed. So is this being lured back to a temptation of this world? I'd like to taste my first champagne. She breaks rank. I don't know. That's what it seems like, potentially. Could you imagine how nuts this would be to anybody stumbling upon it? They would think I'm absolutely out of my mind. But if anybody's thinking that, there's like 1,000 people listening to this shaking their head going, yeah, that's what this is. Like, what do you think? We're all crazy? And then I guess it's down to the 3 girls or so. I flit, I float, I fleety, fly. Oh, well, a flit and float. That's what upon death, maybe that's what a soul and a spirit does. I wouldn't even be presenting that, except when the little one comes in, look what happens. She says, the sun has gone to bed and so must I. Always got to bring the sun into it, of course. Always got to bring that sun pillar in. I don't, again, this is shit. I won't dabble into things like this that I don't know. I can point at the matrix code, but I don't know the symbolism stuff that Levette does, so I don't go there. But, there are certain things that are repeating themes. The sun has gone to bed and so must I. And then, up, the mock death. Oh, it's just sleeping, Matt. Maybe. They're going off to bed, Matt, you creepy conspiracy F. Okay, that's not the interpretation I'm getting out of this. It's getting out through the ascension points of the chakras and saying goodbye to these creeps. Little goes, oh, she's just sleeping. Well, maybe. But as Cameron said, the minions are quite pleased. They're quite pleased. Some would interpret it as, but again, you can't, how far are they going to go in basically a popcorn cruncher level kids movie? They can't be too overt. But he was saying, look how pleased the minions are. They acted like complete and total assholes enough where they were able to ascend and get the heck out. Wave goodbye and get up to the open door. And then the minions are they're down here looking like we did our job as total assholes. Some of these people are actually going to get out of here. I'm not praising. I'm just saying this is an interpretation of this scene. It is not my interpretation of what these minions are all about, although there's no doubt they help us. The difference, I don't think they're trying to help us. They help us as a sidebar, as a tertiary spin-off benefit. Ultimately, I think these people are here to serve themselves. And what's happening here? They are being entertained, right? They're being entertained first and foremost. So then you get the sense. So the minions are being entertained. These children are acting out the ascension of the chakras, getting out of the material plane. These people here aren't aware. If this is what they are acting out, these people here aren't aware of it. Potentially, are they? They're being entertained. They're feeding in some way from this performance. So, what more? How much? When we do a 2-hour breakdown on the cuckoo scene, good night's farewell. I mean, there's not a whole. This is what's here. Anybody stumbling upon this would be like, you effers are out of your freaking mind. And a few thousand people listening to this are like, yeah, that's exactly what this is. Because they immediately can read the matrix code, got yourself in a certain frequency, it just is all clear. And again, multiple meanings, not just in song, in all art, movies, even cartoons. It's once you get yourself to see this sort of thing, it just keeps coming. Keep telling yourself to be able to see this. And you won't just see something that's not there. You will see what's there. And you'll just, I'm going to go back and watch all the old movies. I'm going to go back and watch Wizard of Oz again. I'm going to watch this again. I'm going to watch, all the big ones. I'll leave that for that analysis for some other time. But I'm going to go back and watch all the famous movies again because I bet they'd be littered with this stuff we never caught. Watching it just as with the mindset of the popcorn cruncher the first time. We wouldn't even think to catch this stuff, of course. Switching gears, guys, if you want to talk more in general as to how these themes come out through art, just touch on this for a little bit, but use another example before we get into the greater discussion. I'm going to play this, but I have to make noises over it. There's no way I can play this. This is a video from an incredibly talented musician called FKJ, right? He's probably the top musician in the world in terms of being able to use computers, electronic keyboards. He can conduct an entire concert with 5 to 7 instruments all by himself using a computer. Plus he plays bass guitar, plays lead guitar, plays different types of saxophones, plays drums. I mean, he just can do it all. Plays classical piano. Guys, he could be one of the most talented musicians, without a doubt, in the world, if not the, but definitely in terms of electronica or presenting with computers. Okay, so let me just, this song is called Die With a Smile. And is there any coincidence that when it comes on, it loads like this? I'll show you, the name loads, or the Die With a Smile loads. I'll just make noises over it. Okay, so ultimately, it says, Die with a Smile. It's just coming on, the video. But is there anybody that thinks it's a coincidence that the I Am loads first? I mean, come on. I mean, there's just this little things everywhere that people like us would catch. People like me, yeah, people like you, we would catch this shit and nobody else catches it. You have to be attuned to a certain radio station to catch this. This stuff's endless anymore. So again, I'll talk over it so it doesn't. So it loads. It's just a split second. But in Die with a Smile loading up, you have for just a split second, I am. Well, from God and Exodus, I am that I am, and who knows what meaning is coming out of this. The song's called Die with a Smile. This stuff is not a coincidence. It's just not. So it says it loads Die with a Smile. Then it gets into the video where he's playing in front of a fish tank. And this guy, again, the music is incredible. I'll leave a link to this. And I will actually leave a link to his concert performance on the Bolivian salt flats, which is just incredible. It's one of the most, if you like this type of music, it's one of the most incredible concert scenes and with the music you'll ever see. And if you do watch it, notice there's one part, I think there's a song called Unchained that I'm going to talk about in the future, where he has a soundbite of a woman saying, no fear. I mean, this little themes flow through this guy. To me, he hasn't completely gone under the dragon's wing yet, but he's gotten a lot of attention from the creeps and the songwriter potentially from Under the Silver Lake. There's little things that are dropped in some of his stuff or the way he makes his presentation. He doesn't have huge banners of the pyramid in the eye or anything. Not like that. It's much more subtle, at least in this point of his career. But the song Unchained, which is in the concert, you'll hear he pulls a little sound bite up and she says, what's freedom to me? No fear. I love this little part of the song, and I don't think I can play it. I'll link to it. But it is in the middle of the concert. She's saying, if I could have that for just half my life, no fear. That's her number one definition of freedom. And then she says, there's more than that, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind. No fear. If you watch the concert, you'll hear the sound bite. It's in the middle. It's a long ways in. But I love that part. So the point, guys, is this isn't to talk this long over this little, you talking this long over this little tiny example? Okay. The main point to come out of this with, guys, is this shit is everywhere. And I mean everywhere in terms of videos, music, rap videos, mainstream stuff, old movies, Sound of Music, Wizard of Oz. If you turn to a certain frequency, just like Vanessa Villé's doing, oh, there he goes, mentioning her again. Well, yeah, she has some she was very insightful on several things that and guess what? She was proven right, because she got me thinking to look for this truth, even in areas I didn't even think to look. And once you would tune to that frequency, it's there. It's like always there.
From the new Twin Towers, there's a window that looks down on everything in the world. By the time
Watch the bird fly right through the building, exactly like, and then it goes through Twin Towers. There we go. Are you kidding? Okay, my favorite of all time. I'm gonna continue to talk or wrap up this video, I'm gonna do it under the Peter Stoessel commercial. And the more we learn about who this creep was, the first mayor or governor of New York, and then his creeps are still making billions. His offspring creeps are still making billions. So just to wrap it up, guys, because everybody always, I guess, puts words in my mouth over my take on this stuff. So when truth comes through the Wizard of Oz or the Sound of Music or a little I Am tidbit in an FKJ video, just happens to be called Die with a Smile. There's three ways that this stuff is happening. One, I don't take off the table that the creeps or people in back rooms do plant some of this. Of course. That's a major factor. Of course, it's coordinated, because when the creeps take big bites of their shit sandwich, they have to give truth and understanding to those paying attention. We know that's how it works by now. So there is a lot of planning, But I've always said, of course, there's just so much of this could not be accomplished by men and women making phone calls, as I've said. But the third element is actually a retrocausality. I do believe it is possible, but I believe we live in one gigantic Mandela effect. I really do. I'll talk more about that in the future. But things or truths, in some ways, you can be inserted into past commercials, movies, music. Inside of music, there's a layer of truth, like a carrier wave, embedded in the song where the artists themselves, of course, wouldn't even be aware of it. You have the retrocausality aspect of it because there's no such thing as time. Linear time is just a pathetic illusion. So there's lots of different ways the truth can flow through art of all types. And is this the part where it says, from the world tower, from the new Twin Towers, there's a window that looks down on everything in the world. And they're showing Rockefeller Plaza right there before this car, Rockefeller Plaza, looking down on everyone that they're superior. There's no, is that one coordinated? In terms of, I can't, there's no point, I think, anymore in pointing to, Matt, the I am thing in the beginning of FKJ's Die With a Smile. Is that, wouldn't that have to be planted I don't think there's any point in trying to determine which truth is planted by what offspring of Steven Spielberg. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's enough to tune yourself to the frequency where the truth will be coming in, I was going to say in major art, but here's a Peter Stuyvesant commercial. It comes through minor art, and it comes through bullshit too. It comes out everywhere. I think it's enough just to know it can be planted if the creeps have a quota. They are responsible for a lot of it, but a lot of the truth community is so wrong, in my opinion, in not being able to see past that. It's all coordinated. I've said this many times. Of course, I'm going to keep talking about it. It's not all coordinated. It flows through the art. And there's no point in saying, well, did FKJ get a note from the Minions to put in I am? It doesn't matter. I don't know. You have Twin Towers in the back here. There's like 5 or 6 Twin Towers references in the Peter Stuyvesant commercial. It's 3. It doesn't matter. It comes out naturally. It's channeled by the artist. It can be a retrocausality. It doesn't matter because the only thing that's important is we tuning ourselves to the frequency where we will look at the art or the music or anything and pull truth out of it. I'm still watching the Phantom of the Opera, the music of the night. It is, the Phantom of the Opera is such a monstrous truth drop. It's off the charts. I haven't made my presentation yet. It's so deep. The music of the night. Turn your face away from the garish light of day. And then he pulls his hand up through her chakras and the rising of the Kundalini right in the scene in the Phantom of the Opera. Now, again, in terms of, well, how much did, what is his name? L. Lloyd Webber or Andrew Lloyd Webber? Is that who it is? How much did he know? I don't know. I think the reality would want us spending all our time saying, well, what did he really know? And you see the truth. If you can pull the truth out of the music of the night performance, or many other performances in Phantom of the Opera, if you can pull the truth about, number 1, the deception, number 2, what kind of world could coordinate all this, and 3, what does that mean for your understanding of yourself, that's all that matters. I think it would love us to constantly bicker and debate, saying, how did this truth actually get into the art? How did the message or the carrier wave actually get into the song? It would love us doing that, because that's a screen exercise and away from ourselves.